Telecoms giant MTN Group has reported a 7% decline in half-year profit for the period ended June this year. MTN attributed this to a lower contribution from associates and joint ventures. The board has declared an interim dividend of R1.75 a share for the first half of the year. The company says it's still committed to paying R5 a share at the end of the year, for the full year that is, despite the challenges it faces in Iran. US imposed sanctions on Iran posed challenges for the mobile operator's ability to repatriate cash from MTN Irancell, including future dividends. The sanctions followed President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal earlier this year. My colleague Gloria Sefako-Musi spoke to MTN's Group CEO Rob Shooter.
In our plans is that there will not be future dividends from Iran, considering the situation there with the sanctions, and we're still comfortable that we can honour the guidance of the R5 even despite that setback.
And how is this the sanctions there going to impact on your investments, also the real taking in the past week?
So for many years, MTN Irancell has been self-funding, so it is really running its own operation. Part of the challenges now for us is I think it will be complicated to repatriate any future dividends, as we've discussed, until the situation normalizes. I think for the Irancell operation themselves, they will also find it more challenging to import equipment that they need for the network. But we've invested a lot in that network over the last few years, and so we feel comfortable that they will be able to manage themselves, as a standalone entity for the next few years, through the challenging times.
And in terms of plans for investments?
No, I think for Irancell now, it will really be just settling down and managing the business, still promoting data growth, digital service growth, but we don't anticipate as MTN Group making any further investments in that market.
In the South Africa market, your revenue was up 2.9%. Can you break down for us as to which part is voice and data?
Yeah, so South Africa has one of the most advanced data markets. So data, in fact, in South Africa grew 13.5%. And as you said, total revenue grew 2.9%. So data is growing, I think, very strongly. Voice revenues were negative, around 9%. So, that's obviously what tends to happen is more people go into smartphones, they're using instant messaging, social media, they make fewer calls. But we do think that this minus 9% will moderate a bit in the second half with some of our commercial activities. And we also would really like to grow the enterprise business going forward. One of the big drags in the South African result is that our enterprise business was shrinking minus 14%. So the minute we get that back to just stable or growing, that's going to make a really big difference to our growth rate in South Africa.
Data cost is a big issue in South Africa. How is MTN going about that, making sure that data is brought down?
We feel that the pressure on data is really for the entry-level consumers. There still the cost of data needs quite some adjustment. For customers who've moved into the world of an iPhone or using 5 or 10 gigs per month, if you benchmark these tariffs and for the quality of the networks, these are very competitive already by global standards.
The macroeconomic conditions in South Africa are quite challenging, and obviously Iran. How are your plans to try and mitigate that to get the most out of this market?
I think each market is a little bit different. South Africa, the last few years, MTN has not performed as well as it should. So part of our improvement will be really getting our own house in order. In Nigeria, the economy is very much stronger. That's helping us to grow at 17%. Ghana, the economy is doing pretty well. We're growing 27%. Iran, we've been growing at 16%. That will come under pressure. But of course, remember that we don't actually consolidate MTN Irancell, so it's not actually in any of those group numbers I was referring to earlier, just coming in as the associate. But I think more generally, we as MTN have always tried to maintain an investment, what we call through the cycle. So through the good and the bad, we need to invest in the networks, we need to roll them out, we need to increase data capacity. Part of why we're doing, I think, pretty good now in Nigeria is that when they went through a difficult time, we continued to invest in the network.
A few months ago, we saw the Hawks raiding the MTN offices on the Turkcell accusations that you paid a bribe in Iran. Can you give us an update on where that is at the moment?
So Turkcell has for many years alleged that there was improper conduct in the way that MTN secured the license in Iran. And we, for many years, have said that they were the architects of their own misfortune. They lost the license, and we picked it up fair and square. This dispute has already gone through multiple court processes. It's gone through an ICC arbitration. It's gone through a BIT arbitration. They had an action in the US, which they abandoned. So 3 times now, complicated legal processes, all of which have found no wrongdoing on behalf of MTN. And we are utterly convinced that the process now that we go through in South Africa will have exactly the same outcome.
Have mixed feelings on whether South Africa is likely